So you're looking to buy a vacation home in Orlando, you definitely want to do a home inspection. It's a vital part of the process.
Yep.
And we're going to show you what things to look for, what's different about those home inspections.
One of the biggest things you got to realize with a vacation home, people are coming in, they're staying in for a few days, they're leaving. Sometimes those houses aren't getting checked as thoroughly as they should. Sometimes they're not getting looked at for leaks in the roof. And most people think, well, if I walk into the house and I see a stain on the ceiling, is it an indication that there's a leak on the roof? Yeah, but we got to think of all the different layers that water has to go through. You start off through the shingles, then you have to go through the roof felt, then it hits the roof decking, and it could be a huge stain on the roof decking that hasn't leaked all the way down into the insulation through the drywall to now see a stain that you can see on the ceiling. So think of how long that it takes, and sometimes at that point, the roof could be totally shot. There could be leaks underneath the sink. It could have the wrong type of plumbing. There's all kinds of things that we want to look out for, especially with a vacation home that you're not spending too much time into, but you're spending a lot of money into that somebody needs to invest in and rent out.
Most of the investors that I sell to, they live in another state, sometimes even another country. No one's really keeping an eye on these things. Like you said, it's a vacationer in there, then maybe a cleaning crew comes in.
Yep.
They're not looking out for things that might be wrong or don't work. They're not maybe even flushing the toilets to see if they're working until the next guest checks in.
Yep.
And then you've got your property manager that again is just there collecting money, maybe booking your site, maybe sending in cleaners, but they're not doing inspections like you would if you lived in a home.
Exactly.
You're gonna see the things that work and don't work and wear out.
Yep.
Because these things do get higher usage because it's not their home, they're not taking care of it, and they're not being as gentle with things as you would be. So a home inspection, especially a lot of these I sell sight unseen. I visually inspect them. You hire a home inspector, but you've never seen the home.
Yep.
So our eyes and ears are all you know about this home. All right, so some other things to consider are the fact that most of the homes near the Disney corridor that people are buying for vacation home rentals are newer because these platforms like Airbnb and VRBO didn't even exist until about 10 years ago, 2015 or so. So most of the homes were built from that point forward, so they're not that old. So they don't have a lot of the typical problems that you would be if you were buying a 70s or 80s or 90s home. So we're looking out for different things, right? There's still problems. They're still built by people. They all have pools. They all have garages. They all have kitchens, plumbing. So all the issues are still there, and sometimes even more because a lot of times these homes are themed out and they've covered up walls. They've moved air vents to accommodate a new wall that they're putting in. They put structures in place that the house wasn't built to do with the air conditioning airflow. They've taken down garage doors and spring systems and they've modified the home. So how does that affect how you approach a home inspection, knowing that it's been modified, it's fully furnished and themed out, it's got a pool? Mindset-wise, how do you approach those kind of inspections?
So it's kind of cool that you even talk about it because one of the things, actually we had a house probably a couple weeks ago, same situations, nice newer house built into a newer area, gated community, all the good stuff. And we were walking through and one of the things that we noticed was nobody ever opens up the windows in the house. So
Great.
we're sitting there trying to lift up the windows aren't opening. Half of the window locks are broken, they're all old. And then there was also water intrusion coming around the door frame because there was one of the gutters was leaking right around the door frame. So the whole door frame was rotted out, had wood decay, all kind of stuff going on there. There was a few different things. Another thing that we also found was there was a leak it was a 2-story home. So there was like slight stains. And sometimes when you walk in the house, you can't really see the stains because the houses are a little bit darker. Remember, they're themed out, they're kind of decorated. So the light isn't like crazy bright in there in some of these rooms. So we go in there with the white light, we got the infrared camera, we're using all these different forms of technology, and we check it with the moisture meter, and there was a stain there that was coming through from the 2nd story down to the 1st story ceiling, and all kind of water damage going on in that case. A normal person that's staying there probably wouldn't have even noticed. The home buyer doesn't really know. The property manager's not paying attention to that. Nobody's going to report it. And guess what that leads to in the long run? Now we got water issues. Now we got mold issues. That might cause termites and all different kind of things wanting to swarm in those areas because termites like water. People don't realize that they like wood, but they're also attracted to water. So there's all kind of different things that could be happening behind the walls or things that you're just not paying attention to because you're only there for a couple of days. And we are there to actually make sure that you're not put in a bad position.
And I always do advise to people buying these. Again, it's usually an investment property, right? You're trying to make a secondary income, a stream of income. And a lot of people don't stay in these properties, but the ones that do, and they have the young kids and they buy it for the purpose of using it a couple weeks a year. I always tell them while you're there using it for yourself is to treat it like you're paying for it. You rented this home and you're going to leave a review on this home. So look for the things that don't work, that are inconvenient, that were modified and may hamper the normal use of that product, whether it's a dishwasher or a toilet or a shower. Those are kind of things. Utilize your home inspectors, your realtor, your home inspectors, yourself when you're staying at these properties to just do, maybe build that in your property manager's, orderly inspection, is to do a deep dive into taking things apart, looking at how often the filters are being changed in the HVAC unit. Run the plumbing at a high clip and drain the water fast, run the dishwasher, because sometimes people stay and don't use things. The windows, that's a great example. Who's opening windows in a vacation rental in Florida? It's either raining or 100 degrees out. And they're not opening the windows for those things. You're keeping cold air in. So that was a perfect example of what I was trying to convey here.
Can I even add something to that?
Yeah, of course.
So even like another situation. So a lot of times a property manager, they might have contractors that do the work. Are they always the best contractors? We've seen some cases. Sometimes it can be really good. Sometimes they're trying to get the cheapest, the quickest, and the easiest deal so they can keep all the money in that case. So not all property managers are the same. Unfortunately, I had another case scenario. So maybe not so of a new house, but not an old looking house either. Very well taken care of, very decorated. But so they had an AC issue going on. AC was kind of getting to that age where it needed to be updated, has a few different issues going on in that sense. So they hired a contractor to come out and do the AC, and they installed what was a new AC, but in reality, it was not a new AC. It was actually an older used AC. Now, of course, the home buyer's not looking at this. The contractor knows, but the property manager doesn't know any better. And most people can't determine the age of an AC without having someone like us or an AC technician actually look into it. So they installed an older used AC that was still functional, but that wasn't in the best interest of you as the buyer. That wasn't in the best interest of you trying to get the most money and most value out of that rental property. So you don't even know sometimes who's doing the work on these houses or who they're hiring out, and are they really looking out for your best interest? That's why we take the extra time and go the extra mile, just to make sure that everything is functional, everything's working the way it's supposed to, and everything that was supposed to be updated was really updated.
Yeah, and having regular maintenance crews come out and work on your HVAC and your pool heater too. So almost every one of these homes has a pool, and most every home that has a pool has a heater in the vacation rental market, especially. You wouldn't think we need pool heaters here, but we do. And it's a luxury, and people pay extra for it. So as an investor, that's a little bit of a money-making issue, is making sure your pool's heated. And it's important that those things don't fail, because your HVAC and your pool heat and those kind of things, if they go wrong while someone's in your house, you're going to pay for it, because they're going to leave you a bad review and they're going to refuse to pay for their stay. So that costs you money. So doing regular inspections, not only knowing up front when you purchase a home what to look for and how old things are and what to expect. Hey, your HVAC unit, it's running now, but it's kind of at the end of its life. Hanging on replacing it. So start saving that money up a little bit. But also the ongoing maintenance is just as important as heeding Andrew's advice in the beginning. And knowing those things, because these things are going to wear out faster. People aren't going to take as good care of them. If your filters aren't being changed, if you don't have a limiter on your thermostat, people are going to crank it down as low as they can. So all those things, those are big ticket items that you can't recoup your money back on, right? If the AC goes out, there's $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. You can't just make up somewhere in the rent. So prolonging those as long as you can is in your best interest, and knowing what you can up front is vital to the whole point of the thing. Because me knowing that knowledge, what Andrew gives me in that inspection report, going over it with you and negotiating up front, because we know the AC is at the end of its life, or we know the pool needs to be resurfaced. Those are kind of things we can negotiate. It may not fix the problem, because the seller's most likely not going to fix the problem, whatever we find, but they will throw money at it, either in a reduction in the purchase price or a concession, and then you can fix it after closing. So knowing those things ahead of time is vital, whether it's a mold inspection, a pool inspection, HVAC, roof, all those vital components, the big ticket items.
Yeah.
And then I'm also going to help you inspect the furniture and the games and the things that he doesn't do. But I'm going to help you negotiate those things too, because if you're buying a home that was built in 2017, those mattresses could be 8 years old. Hundreds and hundreds of different people could have slept on those. And the pool tables that have seen, people jump on, kids jumping on them and all kinds of things. So we want to be your eyes and ears, because we know when we go under contract, you may not be here for the inspection.
Yes.
You may not have seen the home when we viewed it, and you certainly can't be here for the inspection, because the inspection we have to do it on a date that the home is available, right?
Yeah.
If it's Airbnb, we can't just say, okay, we're coming on Tuesday, because it might be booked.
Yep.
So you may not be able to be here. So again, you're counting on us, and we take that really seriously,
100%.
because it's our reputation. That's vital to our business. So
Right.
we take it seriously. We hope you do too.
Yep.
Any last specific advice doing a home inspection if they're not here present while we do it?
I would just definitely say that recognize that we are pretty much a dynamic team, because he's going to be checking for the things that might be more visible, and I'm going to go into the places that he doesn't want to go to. Like the attic, when it's 100,000 degrees outside, if there's a crawl space, I'm going to be going underneath there. On top of the roof, I mean, he's got nice shoes all the time. My shoes can handle walking on top of the roof in that case. So we're pretty much looking out for your best interest, and you want to make sure anybody you're working for is looking out for your best interest. So it always makes sense to have a home inspection, where it's a brand new build, whether it's an older house, whether it's a Disney house, it does not matter. We need to make sure that you're getting the best investment for your money, and we want to put you in the best position to do that.
All right. Andrew's just one of my fantastic partners, whether it's mortgage, insurance, inspections. If they want to get a hold of you and hire you for purchasing a home here, what's the best way to contact you?
All right. Yep. You can always reach out to us at 407-440-1761, or you can look at us at the website at www.arbhomeinspections.com.
And as always, this information is on the house.